Hi all. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. So, thank you everyone for joining the session. So, we shall discuss about today's agenda, and we'll first begin with our introduction from the Turno AI team. I'm sharing my screen. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, Vardhiti.
Okay. Uh, so, we shall be discussing about Turno AI desktop today. Welcome to the session, everyone. So, before that, um, So this is our agenda. Basically, we'll be talking about what exactly is Turno AI and how Turno works and what is Turno AI desktop exactly and how we can use it and what are the various forms in which Turno is being offered and how to use it on the local. So uh, let us have an introduction. So, Sandeep Giri is our CEO, and myself, I'm Vagdevi. I'm working as a senior ML engineer with Turner, and we have Akansha with us, who's software engineer, and we also have Gajendra today, who is our lead in management. So, let us see what is Turner AI. Turno AI is like a AI data scientist for us. You can understand it like a chat GPT where you can chat with your data sources, but it is far more advanced, far more sophisticated, and far more confined to talk to our data and make our deep and great analysis. So it learns and understands our data sources automatically and by interaction with you. So as in when we use it, it becomes more intelligent and it just gets more info about our behavior and answers it accordingly. So basically, it is a little adaptive also. So it instantly analyzes the enterprise data and gets actionable insights by asking questions in plain English and empowering both tech and non-tech teams. So we can see in the flow diagram where any person, irrespective of their domain or background, they can just give a plain English query to Turno AI and it will access the data sources in the backend and it will perform all the necessary operations in order to retrieve the results. And it will give the results in a presentable format as per the query and as per the user's desire. And the response desired format can be of any type, be it any HTML, visualizations, CSV, or whatever it is. Uh, Tanmaya securely connects to any data source, be it MCPs, ERPs, databases, data warehouses, or data lakes. So, be it any advanced technologies like MySQL, Snowflake, or anything it is, or we can just connect to any MCP servers. It can run on remote, it can run on local, wherever it is. It just needs a connection established with Turno AI. And also, we can upload any files of any formats, be it images, JSON, PDF, or whatever it is. So basically, the data can be from anywhere. We just need to establish a connection either with the data source or MCP way, or we can just upload those files, and Turno AI just does all the analysis needed. So Turno AI also ensures that enterprise grade security is there, and that is done with the help of SQL Shield, which is again an inbuilt or in-house project, which is exclusively used for providing enterprise grade security while communicating with the datasets. So it is a read-only access, schema-only analysis, and encrypted connections, along with the support for the virtual environment execution, and it will be done in an isolated SOC2 compliant infrastructure so that our data never leaves our premises. So we are providing utmost possible security for our data and seamless conversation with our data sources. And obviously, because of these features, Turner AI is secure infrastructure and it also has the credential management. It has access control. It has read-only access, schema-only analysis, and encrypted connections. So it also performs the full analytics workflow, be it like EDA, exploratory data analysis, which is a very, very major step in data science workflows. We all know that because only when we get to understand our data clearly, we can proceed with better decisions in the data science workflows and ML, right? So EDA can be done. And further, as a one step ahead, it will also do the advanced machine learning modeling, and everything is real time processing, and also it generates automatic generation report generation. Now let us look at how exactly Turner AI works. So whenever the user submits a file, or when he uploads a file or any user question, Turner AI processes it, and it interacts with the data or systems which are connected to it in the backend using the code or SQL generated by itself. So at the backend, we have the knowledge and security layer, and also we have the data sources like the model context protocols, MCPs, or ERPs, or any API or database or files or any of such fashion. So once it establishes the connections with that, and once it is able to process the user query and retrieve the required results from the data sources or MCPs, the results are taken back to Turno, and Turno further processes it in usable and desired format, and it answers to the user in a user native language. So this is the entire architecture of Turno AI by itself. Now let us look about Turno AI Desktop. So Turno AI Desktop is your local AI assistant. It works on your local machine, be it your PC, be it your laptop, or whatever it is. It is a powerful, self-contained desktop application that brings the intelligence of Turno AI directly into the machine. It is always accessible within a click because it lives conveniently on your system tree and ready to assist you the moment you need it without disrupting your workflow. Safe and isolated sandbox because it runs the analytics code in a fully isolated sandbox, safe from your local files. And also it is a very secure data handling because it executes complex data driven reasoning tasks securely within the local sandbox environment, posing no data privacy concerns. And also it has seamless integration because it has been built on modern desktop technologies to deliver a lightning fast native experiences on your Mac OS. Um, why especially enterprises like desktop app? Because enterprises have a lot of constraints in the reality, right? Because they have their own VPN systems, they have their own networks, they have their own concerns about the data privacy or the data being located on their private networks and all. So most of the cases in enterprises, the databases are not exposed publicly. They are mostly internal databases, and the access is restricted to company LAN or VPN connected systems. And many times, even simple things like pip install commands are blocked for in some enterprises by their firewalls or whatever the policies that they have defined for their security. And they enforce strict security policies so that no external apps access the internal databases, and that is for obvious reasons because the data is at the core of many companies, and they would not afford to lose their data or data breach of their users. And also there will be no data leaving the network boundary, and no firewall openings or public exposures. So because of these things, it will be difficult for the enterprises to access the knowledge of Turner AI on the SaaS platform. And that was the reason we have come up with this idea of Turner Desktop. Um, and yeah, just let us look at the problem of web apps again in clearly. So the cloud tools sit outside the network because uh, when the SaaS apps are hosted on some EC2 or something, it is obviously publicly exposed. but the cloud tools are not allowed by the network inside the enterprises. So the web apps require exposing databases or creating tunnels, and this violates the compliance and the security policies. So even secure cloud tools fail because they sit outside the enterprise network boundary. And that is the exact reason why Turner Desktop works. The reason being, a desktop app is built for enterprise network constraints, and instead of forcing the enterprises to change their security model, we changed where Turner runs. So we just bring AI to where the data lives, not the other way around. So it is simply illustrated by this diagram where there is an enterprise network within which they have the internal databases hosted. And when Turner Desktop is installed on their own machines, the machines which are connected to the enterprise network, they can easily access the databases within their network. So how it works? Turner Desktop runs directly on the user's laptop or user's PC or whatever it is, and the machine is ready, is already connected to the VPN, and it is obviously inside the enterprise network, so that it can easily access the internal databases directly, and also perform analysis locally, so that never it never exposes data externally, right? These are the benefits because of Turno Desktop, that no data system, no data leaves your system, and no firewall or infra changes are needed. And it is fully compliant with enterprise policies, and it also works seamlessly within VPN environments. Turno Desktop works because it runs inside the enterprise network, just like you do. Let us have a small look about where all Turner Desktop can be useful. It is especially used in generating reports and visualizations, and this is one of the most appreciated use cases of Turner AI. Within one click, we just get instantly generated charts, graphs, and data tables by simply asking questions in plain English on your all time available local data scientist. So, with the help of this kind of mechanism, be a technical person or be a domain expert or be a marketing or sales management lead, whoever it is who are interested to dig deeper into their data, they can instantly get insights from their databases. And it also has the eligibility to connect to the local or cloud databases securely and dig insights from the data locally. So Turno AI has various kinds of offerings. It has SaaS, it has AMI, and it also has desktop app. The various versions of Turno AI and where it runs are described here clearly. The special reason why web app or web version of Turno AI exists is that it runs on our own hosted web servers. Like we, the Turno AI team, we host the web servers and we take care of all the management internally. And everything is managed on the remote machines on the cloud. But due to the specific reasons mentioned till now, if your organization is staying on your own VPC, like AWS VPC or something, then Turno can be easily installed on your own AWS VPC as well, securely. And if you're an individual user or individual researcher or or even working as an enterprise team, you can definitely use Turno with your desktop version so that it directly runs on your own PCs or laptops. So here is the download link. You can definitely have the look at it. And we are also having the release of Windows desktop app within a coming few days. Right now we have Mac app. Now let us look at the demo. Just a second. I shall share the link with you. In the meanwhile, Akansha, can you please take the questions in the meanwhile? I will share the link.
Yeah. Most of the questions I have replied them in the chat. So there's one more that can be write in database in Turno AI. So in Turno AI, you can basically query on the database, but we have one our open source uh, layer, Turno DBI intelligence layer, which you can use to write your database. So that is open source, Turno DBI. But Turno AI itself is not uh, like you cannot write in a database. You can query on it. So, there's a question from Paras. Are we sending data outside the local system on the server where LLM is hosted? So, your data is not sent anywhere outside the local system. Basically, the metadata is sent for generating the response. LLM only gets the metadata and it returns the query, which is then run inside an isolated sandbox environment, and then you get the result. So from Ravi, there's a question. Turn AI को locally host करने के लिए local machine. So, Vagdevi, can you answer Ravi? Like he's asking the minimum specifications needed for uh, this desktop app.
Okay, so there are no such minimum specifications. The only requirement is that you have Mac with you, be it in any chip, but Mac should be good to go. But the disk requirements are around 4.5 GB to download the DMG, and a space of at least 12 to 13 GB is required when you when you install and run the app. So this is just like a Docker application where it starts with its own VM so that it doesn't harm your personal file system. So everything is just done with the VM and security purpose. Okay, question is which base model Turno AI is using to give response? Is there any way to switch the model in between? Depends on the requirements. Okay, so basically we are using OpenAI currently, and we will also give you the Turno LLM. That is what it will be working internally, and you will have $10 of credits free for you initially. Um, but how do you extract the insights into the data example? You asked, give me a customer who is going to leave the organization. So list of customer extract churn prediction, then summarization will help of LLM for that. We have to send data to LLM for interpretation to generate summary. Not really. So what happens is that initially when we connect our data sources to Turno, what we do is we build the metadata over the data sources connected. So we will never look into the data. We will never send the data to the LLM. Rather, based on the data sources connected, we will just understand the metadata and we store it as part of the knowledge base for your connections. So it includes the schema, the type of the columns that you have, and all those things. So when you want to answer the questions like the employees in a table or all those things, the obvious thing the LLM can come up and do is to come up with the SQL queries that will be useful to get the data for that, right? So based on that, it will plan accordingly. Basically, Turner is an agent, so it will plan accordingly in order to execute as part of the chain of thought. So that is how it works. What if I will use Windows for local? Yeah, definitely. So, Ravi Kumar, uh, please, please enroll yourself for the Windows waiting list. So the form is here. I have shared the form. I'm sharing it again just in case. So please fill in your details here, um, so that you will get the link of Windows desktop app as soon as it gets released. Okay, it will be released very shortly, within a week or two. Each product has limitations. In such case, what are the limitations of Turno AI? Right, very good. Basically, if your data is in GBs of data, right? Like suppose you are having a BigQuery data source, and suppose it has so much GBs of data, right? Sometimes it might be difficult for you to establish a connection because there is a network delay, firstly, right? And also on the BigQuery side, the data has to get loaded, and the metadata has to get loaded, right? So apart from the network delays, uh, I think you can just discover and try running Turno AI by yourself and come up with a knack of how exactly it works. Okay, great questions. Okay, how about latency in case of large data analytics? Right. So large data analytics is that firstly we don't the LLM doesn't have access to the data. That is for sure, right? So since the LLM is not taking any data, there should not be any latency with respect to the data, the data retrieval or those things from the side of LLM. But when the LLM is executing like when the LLM is planning and it has given the query required to uh, hello, am I audible?
Yes, Vagdevi, you are audible.
I'm so sorry, there was a power cut. Okay. So coming to latency, if you just tell like give me a file with the first 10,000 rows from my data set which contains this condition satisfied, all those things. So the LLM is not consuming any data, so there will be no latency from that end. But the latency can be like executing the code, because in order to write that data, first it will have to write the Python or SQL code for that, and it will have to write into the file. So that execution might be a little delayed. Or if you are running any ML model, the ML model training might sometimes take time. And obviously, ML models are heavy, right? And what if we don't have metadata of database and it is huge? There is no documentation available for the software and database. We are working on figuring out everything how this works. Is it possible? Turner figures this out itself. Yes, yes. That's a good question, Paras. So the way the metadata extraction works in database is not based on the documentation or something. It is solely based on the schema, right? So, for example, if you are connecting any MySQL database, the MySQL database itself has the metadata about the schema or other things, right? So, just like that, Turno has this capability of extracting the metadata. It will do it and it will store it. So that is a background task which will be happening while you are connecting your data source. Okay, so it does not necessarily depend on your documentation or something, and it doesn't care if you have a very big database as well, because it is not consuming the data. So all it cares about is how the database structure looks like, what are the columns involved, what are the types of columns involved, and based on that it will extract the metadata and it stores in the knowledge base. How Turno AI handles complex queries, which involves large scale data scan and performance optimization point of view. Okay, so what I think the complex queries you mean is like the complex joints. I hope that is what you mean. So it obviously generates that SQL queries, and it applies those queries on the data, and the result will be given to us in the plain text. So the performance optimization
Bhagwati, I think your
done.
screen sharing has stopped.
I'm not sharing. I'm just answering the questions.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, yeah. So basically, it will take care of the LLM plan. The agent cares about planning and execution of the SQL code and its outputs. Uh, is there a full local version of Turno AI that runs entirely on my computer without any dependency on your servers? Yes, yes, that is what is happening in Turno AI desktop version. So the full application will be running only on your Mac app and Windows app, which is coming in the future. So you don't need to fear about anything leaving your premises. टर्नो एआई यूज थर्ड पार्टी टूल फॉर राइटिंग द डेटा इन डेटाबेस, तो ये किस पर डिपेंड करता हो है कि वो ड्रॉप डिलीट नहीं लिखेगा, वो राइटिंग के लिए सेफ है. ओके, दैट्स अ ब्रिलियंट क्वेश्चन अगेन. So, firstly, in Turno, we always encourage read-only mode. There is no write operations which are given. Um, that is how we are promoting that Turno AI is only reading the data but not messing up with your data, because the database level operations are supposed to be done a little diligently, and it should be done in your end, right? And that was the reason it will only handle the read only operations. And definitely it is not using any third party tool, right? So Turno itself will be connecting to your database, and it does all the read operations and performs all the deeper analytics. If a sales analytics problem require 10 to 8 to 10 tables connected to generate response, how it will figure out which table to join, which join, and is there any query validation layer, and what if it's a multi-step query execution solution, then what? Right, right. So that is a very good question again. So no matter how many tables are there in your database, it will just take care of that. Okay, you don't need to worry about the scale of your tables, and it especially does really good as you scale and as you keep using your Turno AI, because it gets adapted to your system, it gets adapted to your own behavior, right? And it generates the metadata just like we discussed earlier. It stores the metadata, and it builds its own knowledge layer, and it runs on that. um, इसकी क्या गारंटी है कि वो ड्रॉप डिलीट या कुछ गलत समझ के डेटा ड्रॉप ना करे? या सो इट इज बिल्ट लाइक दैट. ओके, it is directly built like that. We don't give it the permissions to delete and drop. You can create a user with read-only permissions and use those credentials. Okay. Turno AI is certified for medical work or work with medical industry? Yes, yes, definitely. And to get more details about this, I definitely encourage you to contact our sales team and get in touch with our tech team as well. We can definitely discuss in detail about your own requirement and your own use case. Let's say I ask a question like how many transactions performed each customer from past 30 days, and give top 10 customers based on transaction value. I just want to understand end-to-end workflow like query understanding, query generation, query execution, and visualization based on the output rows. Okay, so for this, I think Bhavani Shankar, I think for this you need to understand about the how the chain of thought works, because that is what is being implemented by Turno agent internally here. So whenever you have any question, whenever you give your question, the LLM understands about the question you give, and it will try to map your question with any existing data sources or MCPs that you have connected. That is the first step that it will do, and then it will understand about it will pick the correct database based on your questions. For example, there is a customer table, and there is a transactions table, and there is a and for the question that you have given, particularly the LLM knows that it will have to deal with the customer table and transaction table, because it already has built the knowledge about the database, right? That is what the metadata does. So as soon as you connect your data source, the metadata will be generated, and the knowledge will be stored in the Turno AI. And based on the knowledge it already acquired with the connection of your data source, it will first pick the correct databases, and it will come up with the correct plan. As in, like, I have these two tables now. In order to answer this query, given that I have these two columns, these two tables, and these columns within those two tables, and the columns of each type, like this. So it has all the information, right? So based on that, LLM comes up with the query plan, that okay, in order to do this, this is what I need to do. And it also corrects itself in case it has gone wrong or something, because it always cross checks. Like, it acts as like a self critic in order to understand what exactly has it answered, and does it need any further follow up or optimization. So once the query is ready, that query will be implemented by the agent, and the results will be there. And the results will be given to the user in the user native language and the desired structure as the given format. So this is the end-to-end workflow. Okay. Can we manage the cost per question by ourselves, as we provide this service to someone else and want to integrate this in our app? How many requests per second the architecture of Turno AI holds, and how many concurrent requests? The concurrent requests are fine, uh, because okay, if you're asking only about the desktop app will be used by a single user, right? And if you're asking about the SaaS, it is highly scalable, because we have hosted it on our machine, on our cloud, and it is well tested. So definitely we can have uh, a discussion about your own requirement, as in how to integrate the app within your own service, so that we can discuss the logistics as you want to have. I highly recommend Paris to get in touch with us. Reach us at the rate TurnAI. Um, I'm asking for meeting only. Okay. How can it help in data visualizations? Can we connect external APIs? Yes, definitely. We can connect external APIs. We can connect external MCPs, whatever it is. You can also configure your credentials as part of the secret management or environment variables. That is also there. And it comes up with the data visualizations also. You can just try it for yourself. You just need to connect your data source. You just need to ask what kind of analysis you want to have with respect to that data, or what kind of visualization you want Turner to provide to you. What are the minimum system requirements for running Turner AI locally? Okay, so I highly recommend the CPU is of at least 4 cores or 2 cores. That's fine. You can just try it by yourself. And RAM should also be good. I think all these days we have at least 8 GB of RAM. And GPU is definitely not required, but if you have it, no one is stopping us, right? But RAM is really good. We don't really require GPU for that. And storage, we highly recommend a storage of 15 GB for the safer side. And just to install the DMG, you just need 4.5 GB. We know every single query requires multi-agent. Some queries can answer single agent. Single agent, some critical queries require multi-agents. How Turner adapts the feature? I asked about question by considering number of tokens. Each query will load all tools to generate response. Okay, so what happens is that um, we have this skills. Okay, we have the skills provided, and the tokens will be loaded only on demand, so that the token optimization is done, so that the users are not charged uh, just randomly, because the tokens are the most important things, and that is how we make use of the tools. And the multi-agent system, currently Turno AI is a single agent system. It is able to handle in a very good way, and as and when it is needed, we'll keep upgrading our software. Okay, I think that's it. So for now, let us just move ahead with the demonstration. And I hope I have already given you the desktop app. I'm pasting it again, the link here. You can just try to download it and install it. So I will be opening my Turno AI. So I hope my screen is visible. So this is how it looks. The Turno AI is starting, and it just starts within some seconds. Okay. So when I click on Open Turno AI, I will be able to open it, and this is how it looks like. So this is the data sources interface, and here we have a lot of things that you can play around with. So these are the data sources where you can connect your databases. We have a lot of support with the various types of databases like Snowflake, Postgres, MySQL, Oracle, BigQuery, and Databricks, right? And okay, let me show you this as well. For example, if I want to connect to MySQL, I can just give the display name that is nothing but the display name here. So currently I have the world database already connected. I will show you this also. So basically this world database is something that is running on my local MySQL server on my laptop. Okay, so this is how it looks like. So I started my Brew MySQL service list. I am just increasing the screen. Okay. So my MySQL is running, and this is the local MySQL, right? And I am logging into my world user database. So I have a world user data. I have a database called world user, and I am logging into that. And I performed various SQL queries on that. For example, I do like show databases. It shows all the databases. So it has something called world, and I'm telling it to use the. I'm just sorry. I'm just correcting myself. World user is the username of my MySQL, and it is using it. It has the world database, and I'm telling it to use that database. And I asked it to show tables, and it shows that it has city, country, and country language as the tables. And I'm asking it to show the top 5 rows from the city, and this is how it looks. So we know that the MySQL is running on my local, and similarly, if you have any database running on your local, you can definitely connect this to your own Turnoia desktop. And let us see how that is done. I'm going back to my UI. So we just need to click on.
Maybe your screen is not shared.
Oh, okay. Okay. So now let us try to connect that database. I'm just showing you. So we can click on add data sources, and mine is MySQL. So I'm clicking on MySQL, and I can give the name, display name to be world. Okay, and you can give a description to that. And the username is world user. Okay, so this is the same thing as this one, whatever the username that we have given there, and whatever the password is given there, right? And since it is working on localhost, it will be localhost. So coming to it, the username is world user, and this is the password. Okay, and the host is localhost because it is running on my local, and the port of MySQL is 3306, and the database that I want to connect to is the world database. Okay, so if I just click on add connection, it will start doing the entire background work, like connecting to the data source and loading the metadata or generating the metadata and understanding and building the knowledge base and everything. That is what it will be done in the background. So once it is done, you will get a notification here that the world database is ready, and it has done all these things as part of the knowledge extraction. um, and once it is loaded, we will be able to see this kind of UI. So we can see that we are able to see all the tables within the world database along with its columns and types of each data, each column. So I have generated some of the queries for you so as to just go in flow. So when I just ask it to list all the data sources, it comes up with this plan. Like in order to do that, it will have to generate the Python code in order to list the data sources, and it prints all the list. So since it has the world database, it shows that world is there, and it says that it is of type MySQL, and all the other information as well, right, along with the version. Now I can simply ask the same questions here as well, like show top 5 rows of each table in the world database. It does all like it does all the background work like this, right? And it comes up with the answers. So we can see that it is generating the Python code and internally SQL code as well. It will execute and it is showing this to us. And definitely remember that this data is just being shown to us, but the LLM does not know about this data. So the data is not sent to the LLM, right? And I can further ask like display top 10 cities with a population less than 1 lakh. So it just writes the query for that, and it gives me the results like this. Okay. So this is one of the use cases. Let us also see one more interesting use case. For example, analytics MCP server. Let me also show you their GitHub page. Okay. So this is the official Google Analytics GitHub page where they are providing the details about their MCP server and of the credentials. For example, if your enterprise has Google Analytics configured and you want to talk to the data from based on the Google Analytics, you first need to configure your Google Analytics based on the steps given here, and then we can just use this information in order to connect to the MCP internal. So let us first see that. So this is what MCP connectors looks like internal. When I click on that, so I have already connected it, but I will just show you here. I'm clicking on edit. So I can just give a name for my database, and you have three options to connect, like SSE, Streamable HTTP, and STDIO. I used STDIO, and I'm using the same commands that they have provided to me here. So the command is piptex, and the arguments are run analytics MCP. So we are doing the same thing. We are just configuring these things here. And the Google project ID will be given to you when you configure the Google Analytics in your GCP. And as part of the setup, you will also have a file which is generated in order to have Google application credentials. So you just need to copy paste that information here. Okay, so you can just save it, and the MCP installation and the setup will be done. And once it is done, it will just show you the icon healthy. You can just click on test as well in order to just test it as soon as you establish a connection with MCP. Then, if you're a beginner or if you just don't know how to go about it, you can also ask Turno, like suggest all the analytics that could be valuable to perform on the events. For example, events is there on my analytics. So it can just give you suggestions also, like You can just understand about, or you can just perform analytics about event volume and trends, daily, weekly, monthly trends, seasonality and spikes, event conversation funnels, and event segmentation, and many things, right? So it is our friend in order to talk to our data. It just does whatever we want to. It also gives the suggestions for advanced analytics, right? And here I would like to show you. Uh, so I have configured my Google Analytics, and I'm showing here for the demonstration purpose. And basically, my Google Analytics has something called events. Okay, so I asked it, describe the available events from Google Analytics. So it will go in this reasoning loop, and it will show us the event name is the page view, and it has 1114 rows for that, and everything like that, right? So this is how it looks like. So it gives the information about page view and the event count, and all the events and their event counts are clearly given to us. And this information is also saved as a file here. I can simply click on download and save it on my local as well. So this is how it looks like, right? And it just says that the Google Analytics available events are taken for the past 30 days, and this is what it has accrued the information about. If you want to be specific, like if you want to ask about last 1 week or something, also you can definitely do that. Okay. And I can also further ask, like, give more information about the distribution of form submit in the form of visualizations. So it just again comes up with its own thought. So in order to answer that question, it thinks that to provide more information, it should analyze the relevant dimensions like this, and it will do this, and it will perform the action. So internally, if you see also, it is trying to call the MCP, right? So the MCP will be talking only in the JSON format, right? So it will prepare the proper JSON format, and it will communicate with the MCP that we established connection with Turno, and it gets the observation like this. Observation means the result. And we can see that it also has come up with a beautiful chat which is visually appealing, along with the details plotted there, like this is the date and this is the event count for the form submit event for the last 30 days, right? So this is just like a single question that you ask in English. You just need to establish a connection with your data sources and MCP, and you just need to ask the questions. The rest will be done by Turner. So it also has come up with another intuitive plot, uh, which is a bar graph, and it also saved the results as CSV files. And it also gave the tabular values as well, right? And I asked further question like the trend of page view, and it also came up with a beautiful visualization like this, and it saved as a file here. And a tabular value as well. And it also asks for I can also ask for visualize user progression through key steps. So if you observe, this is a very very important analysis which is very interesting for many companies, like be it whatever company it is. Almost every company has a website, and they want to understand what is the first visit and session start, and what is the event statistics for the page view. Like once the user has viewed the page, like once the user has visited the page, when is the session starting, are they dropping any midway, or after the page view, if someone is going till the form start, are they able to submit it? Like if I started the form, and am I completely able to submit it, or am I dropping it midway? This analytics is very important for any company, right? So it will really take a lot of effort if we had to do this manually, but Turno is able to do this very simply. And it also gives a nice visual representation with the funnel analysis as well, that initially when there are 428 first visits, only 323 have come till the page view event, and out of 323 only 118 were able to start the form start, and out of them only 105 has successfully submitted the form. So this is a very important analytics, and based on that we can definitely build like the user churn, and uh, based on the analytics that we get from this, we can definitely make fruitful decisions, business decisions, and save our time and energy, and do our decisions backed by data within just a piece of time, right? This is what it is about. I hope everyone has gotten a very good view about the working of Turner AI till now, right?
Devi,
Um,
can you show the where from where they can connect that environment variable as credentials and the MCP connected?
okay. So for the GCP, for the Google Analytics, it asks for the environment variables here, right? So we can just configure our environment variables here, and the file-based credentials like here. Or if you have something else to configure also, you can definitely go to the key management here, environment variables, and then click on the add variable. You can give the name to your environment and the value of that key, and click on add, so that it will add it. And if you want to enable it, you can enable it, or you can just store your key credentials here, and disable it when you don't want that access to be given. All right. Okay. Uh, okay. So is it possible to connect streaming data? So streaming data is something that the database will be taking care of, right? So once the database is there, your data, if your database supports the streaming data, then if you're able to connect to the database, to the Turno AI, that is how it works. Okay. So can you help me with an example to add API? Which API? Can you be specific about it? Because MCP servers are also kind of making API calls only, right? But it is to for the LLM, or you can just directly okay, Amazon Seller API. This. Okay, it's a REST-based API that helps. Okay. So, just like we have discussed, right? We can, if your API requires any credentials, firstly, let me share my screen one second. Okay, so if your API requires any credentials, first you need to configure it as part of the environment variables, and you need to give the access by enabling it. And then you can tell Turno that this is the API, and this is what my question is. You can definitely use that API and give the answers to my questions. If you're more specific about your use case, we can definitely discuss. Please reach out to us. We are always there to help you. I highly recommend you to try by yourself firstly, because that way you will be able to uh, get more hands-on experience about how exactly these things work. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. It was definitely a nice session, and thank you so much for joining, everyone. And there were a lot of good questions that we have received today, and thank you so much for all the curiosity and interest. With that, I really request you to fill out the form for the Windows, because if there are any Windows users, please fill the form so that whenever we are releasing our Windows app, you will directly receive the download link directly in your email. Okay. And if there are any Mac users, I highly recommend everyone to just download it from the link provided here in the chat. Okay, there is one more question. Which language stack is used for Tonu? So we primarily build on Django, Shell, and React. By when should we wait? Sorry, I didn't understand, Anubhav. About what do you mean by waiting?
I think he's asking about the Windows version.
Okay, okay. So it will be definitely up within 1 or 2 weeks. Okay. And I request you to just fill this form about the Windows app. Please fill in your name, email ID, and about your status, like student, professional, or something. Uh, we will curate all our emails and send out the download link for the Windows app to you as soon as it is ready. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Anubhav. And thank you so much for all the interest, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye.